everybody. So I'm going to show you more detail on how I made the honey pots. So here I'm using a large Sharpie. It's the king size Sharpie, and that's just so I don't have to go back over to make the lines thicker for the letters. It keeps it a little bit more organic and hand drawn, which is the great part with doing a classic Winnie the Pooh theme, because it can look, you know, imperfect and hand drawn, and that is the look you're going for. So it doesn't have to even be straight lines. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can go back over and do touches, but I mostly left it just as I wrote it and made sure the lines were thick and, to make bold letters, just like you would see in the book. So in another video, I do show how I did the drips, which is mostly adding a bit of water to the paint so that it just drips nicely, but you want to make sure it's not too thin, otherwise it will go everywhere, but you do want it to be thin enough to drip over. So we're going to finish this project with Mod Podge, and that is so it just seals everything in. Terracotta can be very absorbent, so you want to make sure that it's, a little more watertight, and it just keeps everything looking complete. And I'm using a gloss finish so it looks a little more shiny. You can use a matte finish also. It just depends on the kind that you get. And I'm brushing it on. They do make other ones, but I found this was easier to be a little more in control of where it's hitting on the pot. So you also want to make sure you don't leave any large clumps where, too big a pool where the Mod Podge is too thick. I did learn the hard way that makes it look a little more foamy when it dries, because air bubbles will get into it. So we're making sure that it's just even, not, leaving any spots that are, empty or leaving it too thick. So that's why I go over it a few times and make sure that it's not gathering under like the lip of the pot here. And it also makes the pot feel nicer, in addition to it being shiny. It just feels better to the touch. It makes it, sit more nicely, I think, like on a table. You're not worried about it catching on anything. So, and using the plate was really great too, because it will leave fingerprints just like a paint would. So this way you can use the plate, or if you have a turntable, just to make sure that you're not leaving your fingerprints in the final product either. So we're gonna speed through the rest of this, finish it off. I didn't do the inside, just kind of left it to the outside. It's gonna be just a pot with some flowers later, and I added some gems that are honeybees just to add a little extra touch. And here's the final project.